straight from the mouth of one of the alleged Craigslist killers. Pennsylvania teenager Miranda Barber claiming in a jailhouse interview that she and her husband not only killed a man she met online in the classifieds, but there may have also been a great many more victims. Brian Yenna's live in our New York City newsroom with more. Brian?
Greg, 19-year-old Miranda Barber confessed Friday night that she and her 22-year-old husband, Elliot, murdered 42-year-old Trey LaFerrera in November in a disturbing phone interview with the Daily Item newspaper from inside a Pennsylvania prison. Miranda gave chilling details. She says they lured him with a Craigslist ad offering sex for $100 on the couple's 3-week wedding anniversary, stabbing the victims 20 times as her husband strapped a cord around his neck. Quote, saying, he said the wrong things, and then things got out of control. I can tell you he was not supposed to be stabbed. My husband was just supposed to strangle him. Miranda dropped another bombshell, claiming she's killed at least 22 others around the country in Alaska, Texas, North Carolina, and California, saying, quote, I can pinpoint on a map where you can find them. When I hit 22, I stopped counting. Miranda says she would lure her victims in, study them, befriend them, and only went after bad people. The majority of her murders, she says, took place in Alaska, where she joined a Satanic cult at age 13, shooting and murdering her first man with the help of the leader of the cult. Sunbury police are reviewing the recording of the jailhouse interview and taking her claims very seriously. They're working with investigators from other states and the FBI. Miranda told the newspaper she doesn't want to get out of jail because if she was released, she would continue to kill. Miranda and her husband will be evaluated by forensic psychiatrists. The prosecution is seeking the death penalty in the case. Greg?
What a story. Brian Yenna. Brian, thanks very much.
Well, Ted, it was around noon at Sunchase Apartments when the victim's daughter, Katie Nichols, showed up and told me she stabbed her mother. My camera was rolling during her entire confession, which all has to do with satanic curses.
Right beside those green chairs, and she lives upstairs.
The person talking lives at Sunchase Apartments and is close friends with the 61-year-old woman who was stabbed a few doors down early Tuesday morning. She doesn't want her face shown, but tells me the woman's daughter, Katie Nichols, is to blame.
She's just not emotionally stable and, you know, does the best that she can, but needs quite a bit of help.
She says after the stabbing, Nichols took off with her young daughter.
And I almost kind of hope that she does come back through here so that we can get the authorities to get her.
Not 5 minutes later, it happened. Nichols walked up to the camera.
The satanic cult in this city has been casting satanic spells on me for 3 or 4 days. I'm exhausted. I came home, I found out that my mom was the ringleader and she was trying to kill my daughter.
Nichols tells me she had to act because her mom was putting curses on them.
I had to kill her. She was going to kill both of us. She was so powerful. I had no idea. I had no idea that my mother was that powerful.
Deputies say Nichols' mother was stabbed in the neck, chest, and stomach and was rushed to the hospital for surgery.
When I left, she was still breathing.
Well, that's good.
I stabbed her 3 times, and she should have died. She was still breathing, and I don't know what happened to her afterwards, and I don't know where they took her or what exactly happened, but she was the Antichrist. She did not die.
Nichols says afterwards, she and her daughter hid out.
We went in my car, and we ended up in a little rural area, and we just waited for the sign that it was safe to come back.
Now that Nichols is in custody, neighbors say they're hopeful she'll get the help she needs. But Nichols is convinced she did everyone a favor.
She had symbolic representations of my death, my daughter's death, every nuclear explosion that was supposed to happen that's not going to now, because all of the satanic cult has been rounded up and killed now.
Well, there's no word yet if deputies have officially charged Nichols in this case, but of course we're going to keep you updated as more information becomes available.
A lot of layers to the story, but one of the layers that we don't usually get is you kind of became part of the story. You ended up talking to this woman who admitted she just stabbed someone 3 times, and you actually called 911. Did you fear for your safety at all?
Well, you know, I was a little scared, but, you know, she never threatened me or anything like that, and so I'm just really grateful that everyone stayed safe until deputies arrived.
Right.
Satanic sexual encounter leaves a man with nearly 300 stab wounds.
12 News' Brendan Conway is live on Milwaukee's east side, where the victim was found half naked, cut, and bleeding.
Jason, the police say they found the victim in the middle of the street, that he was bleeding badly. They say they follow his blood trail through the street, up the sidewalk, and up the stairs of this third-floor apartment building, where they say the victim says he spent 2 days tied up and tortured. What happened in this third-floor apartment on Milwaukee's east side over the weekend is almost too bizarre to believe, but court records lay out a story of sex, violence, and possible satanic activities. According to a search warrant obtained by 12 News, an 18-year-old man came to Milwaukee from Arizona to meet with a woman that he met online. It's unclear what he hoped would happen, but he tells police after arriving by bus, he spent 2 days in the apartment tied up, getting cut, slashed, and stabbed. By the time he escaped, doctors say he had more than 300 wounds covering his body. 21-year-old Rebecca Chandler was arrested at the scene. According to court documents, she told detectives she was having sex with the victim and that the cutting was consensual, but that it got out of hand. Chandler told police that her roommate of a few months, Scarlett, did the majority of the cutting. Chandler says she doesn't know Scarlett's real name, but she thinks Scarlett is involved in the occult. According to a list of things seized from the apartment, there were a number of occult-type items, including a book, the Necromantic Ritual Book, which claims to teach consciousness with the angel of death on an intimate level. A neighbor who didn't want to go on camera out of fear told me he heard the suspect escape. He says it sounded like someone was running for their life. Police say they found a pool of blood inside the apartment, and there are still blood stains on the banisters and walls. 21-year-old Chandler has no criminal record. Both her and the other suspect in the case are being held in Milwaukee County Jail awaiting formal charges. I talked to the victim on the phone this afternoon. He did not want to talk about his ordeal, but he says he is recovering from his injuries. Reporting live on the east side, Brendan Conley, WISN 12 News.